had this amazing yacht, a real beauty. But life happens, you know? It was time to sell it. I found a buyer super fast, a guy who was just as excited about it as I once was. We settled on a price, shook hands, and he was all set to tow it away. Simple, right? Wrong? So wrong. Enter Karen from my HOA. Now, I'd already cleared the sale with the HOA board. All the paperwork was done. All the T's were crossed. But Karen, she must have missed the memo. She marches up to my driveway, clipboard in hand, looking like she's about to declare war. She tells me, "You can't move that boat." I was confused. "The new owner is coming to pick it up." She just shook her head, a smug little smile on her face, and said, "HOA rules. No commercial transport on weekends." I tried to reason with her. This isn't commercial transport. It's the new owner. He's just towing his boat. But Karen was having none of it. It was like talking to a brick wall. A very stubborn, very annoying brick wall. She threatened to have my buyer's truck towed if he dared to hook up my yacht. My buyer, a really nice guy, was getting antsy. He had a long drive ahead, and this was his only window to pick it up. So, I called the HOA president. He confirmed I was completely in the right. He even called Karen himself to tell her to stand down. You'd think that would be the end of it, right? Oh no, Karen, fueled by what I can only assume is pure spite, doubled down. She physically blocked my driveway with her golf cart. My buyer was shocked. I was furious. This was beyond ridiculous, I warned her. "Karen, move your cart, or I'm calling the police." She just laughed. "Go ahead," she said. "They'll side with the HOA." So I did. I called the non-emergency line and explained the situation. An officer showed up, and honestly, he looked tired the second he saw Karen. He listened patiently to my side, checked my paperwork, and then turned to her, explained very slowly that this was a civil matter and that she was illegally blocking my property. Her response? She demanded he arrest me for, I don't even know what. Trying to sell my own property, I guess. The officer just sighed and told her if she didn't move her golf cart, he'd have it towed and she could be cited for obstruction. Finally, with a look that could curdle milk, she moved it. My buyer, who had been a saint through all this, quickly hitched up the yacht and got out of there before Karen could invent another rule. I thought, finally it's over. But the next day, I get a letter from the HOA. A fine. It's a huge fine for violating weekend transport rules. Karen had gone straight to the HOA and filed a complaint, completely twisting the story. She claimed I'd hired a commercial hauling company and had been disruptive and aggressive. I was seeing red. This wasn't just a misunderstanding anymore. This was a personal attack. I decided I wasn't going to just pay the fine and let it go. I started digging. I went through all my old HOA documents, the bylaws, the meeting minutes, everything, and I started to notice a pattern. Karen was at the center of almost every major dispute in the neighborhood. She had a history of levying fines that were questionable at best, often targeting new residents or people she just didn't seem to like. I gathered all my evidence. The confirmation from the HOA president, the police officer's name and badge number, and a detailed timeline of events. I also started talking to my neighbors. Boy, did they have stories. Stories of absurd fines for having the wrong shade of flowers, for kids' toys being left on the lawn for 5 minutes, for holiday decorations being up a day too late. All roads led back to Karen. It turned out many had paid the fines just to avoid the hassle, but they were all fed up. We formed a small group and decided to attend the next HOA board meeting, not just to dispute my fine, but to challenge Karen's authority and the way the board was letting her run wild. At the meeting, I presented my case first. I laid out all the facts, calmly and clearly. I had my paperwork, my timeline, and I even had a written statement from the buyer of my yacht. When I finished, Karen tried to dismiss it all as lies. But then, my neighbors started speaking up. One after another, they shared their own stories of harassment and unfair fines. The board members, who usually just nodded along with whatever Karen said, started to look uncomfortable. The HOA president, the same one who'd told me I was in the right, tried to regain control, but the floodgates were open. It became clear that this wasn't just about a boat. It was about an abuse of power that had been going on for years. We discovered that Karen had been approving contracts for community services with companies owned by her relatives. At inflated prices, the money from our dues, and those bogus fines was lining her family's pockets. This was bigger than just getting my fine waived. This was potential fraud. We formally requested a full audit of the HOA's finances. The board, under pressure from a room full of angry homeowners, had no choice but to agree. The result of that audit was explosive. It uncovered years of financial mismanagement and self-dealing. Orchestrated by Karen. She was immediately removed from her position on the board. The entire HOA was restructured and new. More transparent policies were put in place. Several other board members who had been complicit resigned in disgrace. As for me, my fine was obviously dropped, and I even got a written apology from the new board. It's crazy to think that all of this started because I sold my yacht. It just goes to show you what can happen when you stand up to a bully. It wasn't just a victory for me. It was a victory for the entire community. We took back our neighborhood from someone who was using her little bit of power to make everyone else's life miserable. And honestly, that felt even better than sailing on the open water. Thanks for listening to my story, and if you have a Karen in your life, don't be afraid to rock the boat. Make sure to follow for more crazy stories.